What's up, everybody? Transcend here. Welcome back to another This Week in Tracks, where I do a lap on every single track that came out in the past week in MX bikes so that you can decide whether or not they are worth the download or purchase. This week, it's a shorter video. We had a pretty slow week when it comes to track releases. We had 3 free and 3 paid, and honestly, 2 of the free ones, which are the first 2 that are playing in the video, are just kind of lackluster. They're not really, I would say, like fully built tracks. They're kind of just like a layout in a stadium. This one's got a little more details, but it's just, I don't know. I think, and this might come off rude, this might come off the opposite of endearing, but I think that there is just a new standard when it comes to tracks in MX bikes. And every single track creator is starting to just really step their game up. So when it comes to tracks that have this sort of vibe, where they're not really built out, they don't really have any textures, they don't really have too much environment, it's hard to kind of even put them on the same scale as the other tracks, you know? So we did have 2 of the lackluster tracks, and then we actually, my favorite part of this week is we had our first ever, or our first one of the year rather, snow mountain type track. So I'm a huge Christmas fan. I love winter. I love going to the mountains and snowboarding and stuff. So anytime that MX Bikes has new snow tracks that come out, I just love it. I will spin endless laps on them just because the vibe is so good and it's just right up my alley. So the first snow track that we had this week was called Frozen Creek MX by Dr. PhDs. And man, this dude absolutely blew it out of the park with the environment on this track. The details between the fans, you can hear the crowds cheering, all the banners, all the track markers, the trees, the skybox with the mountains in the background, the lighting with the shadows and everything makes for some sick photos. I just took some awesome photos that I posted on my Instagram, so be sure to go and follow my Instagram if you haven't already. I post some pretty sick content, photos, and short form reels and videos, so definitely check that out. But man, Dr. PhD's he killed it with this track. It is the exact vibe that I was talking about just a second ago, and this is the type of track that I would normally spend endless laps on. Now, on the flip side of that coin, I think that there are, like, everything about this track is amazing. The layout is perfect. It's super fun. But there's just something weird about, like, the textures. Like, the texture of the roughness and, like, in the snow. It's hard to see that there are some ruts that, like, will really grab you, but you can't even really see them. And just kind of weird spots that will grab your front end. I don't know if it's just because of the new OEMs or just in general he made them a little bit too harsh. But I feel like if the roughness on this track was just a little bit simplified and not so, like, technical and complex, then it would flow so much better. I think the flow is what this track just needs a little bit more of. Like, if it just had a little bit more Flow Villa vibe to it, this would be like the ultimate snow track. Like I said, the layout is super fun. It has some elevation change. It's got some really cool ruts. It's got some really cool jumps. There's just something weird, man, about the way that he built the roughness that just, like, grinds your gears and makes it somewhat frustrating to try and run consistent laps. But overall, dude absolutely killed it on this track, and I can't wait to see what he comes out with next. The paid tracks of this week started off with an absolute banger. Justino MX by DP117 is one of the funnest tracks that I've ridden in a very long time. And I feel like I've been saying that a lot lately, but honestly, the track building community has just been absolutely fucking crushing it lately. So, sue me, whatever. Sorry, I'm having a good time. This track is so much fun. The jumps are absolute booters that you can just throw it massive off of. The ruts hold you. There are, like this, the scrub jumps. Dude, you can just absolutely toss it over these jumps. The backdrop and everything is super sick for photos. The details, you got track markers around the whole track, so it looks official, like a compound. or like, an official racetrack, and banners and stuff, tractor marks, fans, bleachers. Attention to detail on this track. He killed it, and the layout itself, the jumps, everything. This track is just so fun. This, I would say, is one of the few tracks that I, without a doubt, 1000% can comfortably say is well worth the bang for your buck. $1 for this masterpiece? Yeah. Go ahead and spin that buck. And I guarantee you and your buddies, whether they are not good at this game or they are pros, every single person that plays this track is going to be absolutely vibing. So, well done again, and yeah, just knocked it out of the park, killed it. Sheesh, getting unbelievably steezy off of the finish line there. Round 4 of the Australian SX for this year, 2024, here in Melbourne. I don't know if I just forgot how to play the game while I was recording this replay, but please forgive me on that. This track is still a vibe, as are the other previous 3 for the series. I think these tracks make for great practice, practicing Supercross on the new OEMs. They kind of have a little bit of everything. It seems like each track has a unique little bit of everything, of things that, you can work on for kind of mastering your technique with the new bikes. And this track is, I don't know. It's a good track. The scaling's good. Everything's good. Quality's good. And again, $1.50, and you can get the season pass. So I don't know how many times I can say the same thing about these tracks. Dude's killing it. Coming in hot with the official round 1 of the Daddy Daycare Supercross Series, we've got Cleveland by Aiden. Last week, we had the preseason in Miami, which was free. This week, because the series has officially started, it is $1.50 on the shop, or you can get the season pass, and it gives you access to all 12 rounds for $16. So that reduces the cost of the tracks to about $1.30 per track. So you save a little bit. Similar to what I said last week regarding the Miami track, this track is great practice. Aiden always does a good job of making the tracks super moderate. They're not too crazy and also not too boring, so they kind of appeal to the beginners of the game and the pros alike. I will say for beginners, again, great tracks for practicing technique, learning how to manipulate your bike and the physics of the game, going through whoops, learning timing, all of that. These tracks are perfect for that. If you're a pro, great track for learning how to master the traction. These tracks are honestly a little bit slippery, and honestly I tried to qualify for this race and didn't make it because I do not understand how people are going so fast with so little traction. But great track overall, and yeah, he killed it. So thank you guys for watching. We will see you next week.